I'm going to begin with two brief stories. The first is a young girl with autism who at the age of 5 years old finally said her first words while she was riding a horse. Another story is an older gentleman who had experienced a stroke who was told he would never walk again. But after months of hard work and physical therapy, he took those very first steps right after dismounting a horse. Both of these stories, the clients in them attribute the progress they made to the fact that horses were integrated into their traditional therapy services. Both of these stories also explain why I, an occupational therapist, am employed in the College of Agricultural Sciences here at CSU. My name is Dr. Caiti Peters. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Animal Sciences, and I direct the research efforts at Temple Grandin Equine Center. Temple Grandin Equine Center, as Dean mentioned, has two facilities, one here in Fort Collins and then one at CSU Spur campus. And our mission is to advance both education and research in equine-assisted services. Equine-assisted services are services that incorporate horses in order to benefit people. There are three broad categories of these services. The first are horsemanship services, which are provided by certified riding instructors who teach individuals with disabilities horsemanship skills, such as how to ride a horse and groom a horse. The second broad category are therapy services. These are provided by licensed healthcare professionals who integrate horses into their traditional therapy services in order to help clients achieve functional outcomes, such as improved communication or improved mobility. The stories I started with today are examples of occupational therapy and physical therapy integrating horses. And the third broad category are equine-assisted learning services. These are provided by educators who integrate horses into their curricula in order to enhance student learning outcomes. Overall, equine-assisted services are widespread. There are over 800 centers in the United States that provide these services, and horses that are integrated into equine-assisted services represent the fastest growing segment of working horses in the United States. But the research supporting the efficacy of equine-assisted services is still in preliminary stages of scientific development. There are several pilot studies, but there's a need for larger, more rigorous research to answer important research questions, like which of these services are effective for whom and what outcomes do they lead to. We also need a much better understanding of the mechanisms by which horses help to improve human health. In other words, why would a therapist choose to integrate a horse into their therapy services to begin with? And we need to know much more about the horses themselves. What are the ideal physical and behavioral characteristics of horses integrated into these services, and how can we best maximize their welfare? Temple Grandin Equine Center has several ongoing programs of research beginning to answer these questions and more. I'll dive into one of those programs focused on occupational therapy integrating horses for youth with autism. In 2018, prior to beginning this research, there were no randomized controlled trials of occupational therapy integrating horses for youth with autism. This is a significant gap in the literature given that autism is the population most often served by equine-assisted services. So we began this program of research following a phased framework provided by the National Institutes of Health for how interventions are best empirically developed and evaluated. In the first phase of this research, we asked, what are the critical elements of occupational therapy integrating horses for youth with autism? And what is it exactly that the horse contributes to the therapy process? In the second phase, we created an intervention manual in order to standardize the intervention and allow for its replication. We then asked, is this new intervention manual feasible to implement and acceptable to both providers and recipients? Finally, we conducted the randomized controlled trial. We found that youth improved in their self-regulation, as indicated by decreased irritability and decreased hyperactivity. They also improved in social motivation. And in comparison to a no-horse occupational therapy control group, youth who had horses integrated into their occupational therapy made faster treatment progress. They were more likely to meet or exceed their individual treatment goals. So overall, Temple Grandin Equine Center is advancing the science that supports equine-assisted services. Horses and humans have partnered together for millennia. Horses have transported us across the country, they've carried us into battle, and they've helped us cultivate food. But as modern society changes, so too will the role of horses within our society. It's our goal for Temple Grandin Equine Center's research to not only benefit the individuals who participate in equine-assisted services, but also to help advance this new growing role for horses in modern society. Thank you.